What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Before we get into the topic, I just want to say huge thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring today's video. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the video. So just jumping straight into it, as you could tell by the title of the video, today I wanted to kind of like react or respond to a video that has been in my recommended feed more than any other video I think I've ever had in my recommended feed. I cannot explain how many months I have seen this video on the sidebar of my YouTube and have not watched it for reasons that we'll get into. But a couple days ago, I finally decided to give it a watch, and I thought that it would be interesting to share my thoughts about this documentary. The documentary that we're going to be talking about is called From Fit to Fat and Back, and it features a man called PJ or Paul James. And basically, I mean, it's exactly what it sounds like, right? It's a guy that's in shape, isn't overweight at all. He decides he's going to gain weight to relate more to people that are overweight, and then he's going to lose the weight to show that it's possible. Now, this is something that people have done before, but I decided to give this documentary a watch, so let's get into it.
Only a few weeks ago, one of my very overweight clients cancelled his third training session in a row. I called him and said, just follow what I'm telling you for 3 months, and I'll show you great results. He said, follow my lifestyle for 6 months and I'll show you why I can't. My target is to go from 80 kilos all the way up to 120. Then, from July 1st, I'm going to spend 6 months coming back again. Over the next 12 months, I'm going fat and back.
So in about a year period, he is trying to gain 88 pounds, and then he's going to try to lose that weight in the next 6-month period. Before we go any further, I do want to say that this documentary is about like an hour and 20 minutes long, so I'm going to do my best responding and reacting to the things that I think are kind of important, but I would recommend if you do want to watch this on your own, I'll link it down on YouTube. It's completely free, but yeah, I'm not going to be able to go over everything because this video would be very, very long.
I think you're loving it.
I am. 40 kilos, I'll put it on, I'll switch it on, I'll be back to normal by the end of this year.
With that clip, I think it's pretty obvious that the guy, he definitely is very confident in himself. And I mean, it makes sense, but it's interesting because people that have never been really, really overweight, they have no idea like what it's like to lose a good amount of weight, because losing 20 pounds is a lot different than trying to lose 100 pounds or even more. So I think that he has like that classic thought of like, it's gonna be easy, it's not gonna be a big deal, I have to cut for photo shoots, and he probably loses between 10 and 20 pounds. But it is a very, very different thing trying to lose what is it, like 88 pounds that he's trying to lose. So we're gonna skip forward to when he's been eating the food and gaining a little bit of weight. One thing I definitely noticed in this documentary is that he definitely, especially at the beginning of when he's gaining the weight, he's doing his hardest to make himself look bigger than he really is. One thing that he does is he pushes his stomach out a lot, like more than nobody walks around and pushes their stomach out as much as he's doing it. I get why you're doing it. I understand, it makes sense. You're trying to make yourself look as big as possible. It makes sense for a YouTube video, but it's definitely something that I noticed. So we're gonna be fast forwarding a little bit in the video. This is about 14 minutes in, and this is actually when I was watching the video, when I was like, actually there seems to be some good information, and my perception of the video and of like the documentary started to shift away from kind of just thinking this is something to get people to watch and it's gonna be very like, oh, this is so easy for me, this is no problem, to actually they have some really good science. And I was like actually really interested, and I thought they did a really good job explaining leptin and everything like that.
For many years we thought that people who are obese ate less than lean people. And based on self-reports, when you ask a person to list what they've eaten, obese people list less. When we actually got them into clinical research centres, we found that many obese people ate a lot more than lean people, but they seem to be unaware of it. And we believe that the reason for this has a bit to do with a hormone called leptin. Leptin is released by fat cells. It tells the brain how much fat a person has stored on them. So as a person gains weight, the amount of leptin in their blood increases. One of the things leptin does is it helps the brain detect how full the stomach is. We call this the stretch signal. When a person carries high levels of body fat for long periods of time, the body, and in particular the brain, becomes resistant to the effects of leptin. And that means that after any given meal, the stomach stretch signal in an obese person is likely to be less intense than the stomach's stretch signal in a lean person. So people who are obese and leptin resistant might need to eat more food to achieve the same levels of satiety as a lean person does. I think for obese people, their brain isn't perceiving those signals the same way a lean person's brain does. And so it's not fair to just say, well, that should be enough.
So in super layman's terms, the longer you're obese, the harder it is for you to feel full. So that's why I think it makes sense for me. It was hard to get to that balance of like, oh, I've eaten enough. It was either I'm hungry or I am absolutely stuffed. Through the course of the documentary, PJ decides that he wants to actually, when he starts losing the weight, he wants to bring someone along with him. So he wants to help someone lose the weight with him. So the person that he ends up choosing is Michelle, who is actually the sister of the gym owner of the gym that PJ goes to.
I'm starting to feel the physical effects of the weight gain, but I'm still confident in my ability to come back. And I want to bring someone back with me.
First time I lost weight, I don't think I was ready to. Sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but when you've been fat all your life and you suddenly get very, very thin, people's perception of you is very different, and it can be a little bit disconcerting. Certainly was for me. In fact, frightened the shit out of me. So I very conveniently just stacked all the weight back on during a trip to Japan.
So I noticed myself when I was watching the video, I was actually kind of relating more to Michelle and more, honestly, like more interested in Michelle and her journey, because I think for me, it really mirrors what I've been through, somebody that was overweight their whole life instead of somebody that, just kind of gained the weight for this like challenge thing. So again, we're going to be skipping ahead quite a bit in the documentary. A big chunk of it is just him struggling with, eating more and how his body looks and stuff like that. But then we get to a point, because again, when I was watching the video, I really started feeling like, I'm not sure if he's really putting on that much weight or if this is all just kind of like trickery, making himself look bigger. But then there's this clip that comes up that when I saw it, I was like, oh, he actually did put on a good amount of fat during this documentary.
Already at my 120 kilos, I've been living like this for a while. And I've absolutely had enough. I'm stuffed. This is the worst I've felt ever in my life. And any overweight person that says they're totally happy, I really question that. It's not the be-all and end-all being fit, but it goes a long way to making you happy. There's no doubt.
If you go, all right, well, here's your choice for lunch. 3 pies or a chicken salad, what's better? He'll go, well, chicken salad. But what will he choose? The 3 pies. It's not about knowledge, it's about choices. What's better, fruit juice or Coke? What will he choose? Coke. What's better, beer or no beer? Will he drink beer? Of course he will. What's better, a meal this big for you or a meal that big? What will he eat? The big meal.
This was another little nugget in the documentary that I was like, I 100% agree with this. And I was actually like, this is really good information. And I love the way that this guy explains, choices versus knowledge. The issue is most of us, we know what's probably going to be healthier for us, but are we making the right choice? That's where the issue is. It's not what do you know is healthier or not.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, BJ, how you
How
going?
you going? Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
So you ready to go?
I am.
Yeah. How you feeling? How you feeling about the whole thing?
A little overconfident, actually, which
You're
bothers me.
overconfident. Have you always been overweight?
Yes.
Like your whole life?
Absolutely. I can give you an example of the diets I've made up myself and tried, diets I've read about and tried.
Yep. How drastic have you gone?
Well, I went to the crumpet diet.
The crumpet diet?
Yes. Which I invented myself.
You only ate crumpets?
Yep, crumpets, plain crumpets, lightly toasted, 2 a day. I became to hate food. I saw food as the reason that I was overweight.
Yep.
And it is, and it still is.
Yep.
But I began a really bad relationship where I went from loving food to absolutely hating it. So I
Yep.
convinced myself I wasn't hungry,
Yep.
and over time my body adjusted, and I
Yep.
could subsist and work on 2 crumpets and all these coffees,
Yep.
and a bit of Sudafed as well.
Sudafed as well.
Yeah, to keep me awake, and it certainly gave me the energy I needed to be able to run. And I lost weight so quickly. My doctor did a chart of it, he was pretty concerned, and my weight just went boom, like that. About 5 days later, I ended up in hospital to have emergency gallbladder surgery, which was apparently brought about due to rapid weight loss.
This part right here is, I think, by far the most valuable piece of information in the documentary, because that explains how many people feel about dieting. Because when you are morbidly obese or even like pretty overweight, you start to almost fear food and you see it as the enemy. So people go on these crazy diets, like she was explaining the crumpet diet where she's only eating 2 crumpets in a whole day. Like, yeah, you'll lose weight, but again, exactly what happened to her, once you get off of that, you're gonna gain the weight right away. So sadly, by the end of the documentary, Michelle she's pretty much over PJ, the guy that's trying to help her. And again, that's exactly what happens when you're really excited about helping someone lose weight. If they're not ready, it's just going to end up turning into this like animosity that you feel.
Don't work out as a client and a
You
personal
don't get
trainer.
better results on your own because you spend a lifetime being overweight, apart from the 2 times you went to hospital because you went on your own diets.
And I'm well aware that the documentary is more important to you than actually training me
No.
or actually
I've given you a realistic goal,
me
Michelle.
and me as a sample of the people who are out there that want to lose weight like I did.
Which
who
other people are
actually
training?
happy being overweight.
So you're happy being overweight?
You wouldn't believe how many people out there are actually like happy and walking around fat.
No, Michelle, you've answered the question for me. If you're happy being overweight, and if it's not an urgency for you to lose weight, I can't help you.
And I had like siblings of mine that would, whenever I saw them when I was at my heaviest, they were always trying to push me to lose weight. And I 100% understand where they're coming from, and it's from a place of love. But because I wasn't ready, all I felt like was that they were attacking me. And you can definitely see that in Michelle in the, towards the end of the documentary.
When I first started this, I thought you were nuts, and I thought it was stupid. I've told you that. But now, looking at it, it's a good way to show people that it can be done.
Yep.
But most of the people that this is aimed at to get motivated are going to have been there for a longer period of time.
It doesn't matter how long you've been overweight. They want to see results pretty quickly as far as losing weight.
Yeah, look, I think it's important, but you take into account how long they've been overweight. Yeah. One, you're starting from a base only 6 to 8 months ago of being really fit, where these people haven't been fit for years. If they get injured, that motivation to come to the gym and to become healthier people, gone.
And then that clip towards the end of the documentary when he is, well on his weight loss journey, I was honestly very surprised at how well they spoke about that topic. Because that's one of the things that, these things when people, trainers or something like that are fit, they gain weight and they lose weight. I think the reason that they don't really catch on or really motivate, I think they don't motivate the people that they think they're trying to motivate. So if you're someone that's been overweight your whole life, I know for me, when I would see people do that, it didn't motivate me at all. Honestly, like it almost demotivated me because it made me feel like, why can't I do this? And it's such an easy thing for these other people to do. So the fact that they were self-aware and they were able to pick that up and even set it in the documentary, it made me respect this film so much more than I had any plans to. Like I know that when I clicked on that video, I fully was ready to be like, this is going to be a terrible documentary and I'm not going to be able to relate to anything, or I'm going to disagree with most of the stuff that they say. But the fact that they put this in the documentary really made me respect the people that made this.
Men's Fitness magazine, we're shooting that in February for the March or April cover. So this is what I've done so far and I'm pretty happy with it.
And then so obviously they have the big reveal. They show that he was able to lose all the weight and everyone's really happy for him. And again, I think that he did an awesome job. Just for me, when I look at that stuff, I think that the intended results that they were hoping, out of people that have been morbidly obese for, basically their whole lives, it doesn't really strike a chord as much as I think they thought it would. There's not many people that I've talked to, or anybody ever that I've talked to, that I was like, man, yeah, I was overweight my whole life. And then I saw this documentary of this guy that was fit, gained weight, and then lost it, that motivated me to lose the weight. Normally it's people that, like, maybe similar story to mine, that were overweight their whole life, that were able to finally lose the weight, that is able to motivate, morbidly obese people and people that have been overweight for a long period of their life. All in all, I was actually pleasantly surprised with the documentary. Again, I would recommend maybe checking it out. It'll be linked down in the description. One thing is that this thing was shot a while ago. It is definitely older. I think it was like shot in 2009, 2008 or something like that. So it's been around for a while. I'm not sure why it ended up in my recommended for so many months and I finally, decided to click on it, but I am glad that I did, and I think that it is an interesting, take and topic to be talked about. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the documentary Fit to Fat and Back. I would love to hear what you guys have to think, if you guys have seen it, or if you've seen stuff similar. Like, do you agree with me? Do you think that it's not really that motivating to, you know, people that have been overweight for, you know, the majority of their life. Like, would that be something that would be motivating to you, or would it be demotivating, or would it be kind of just neutral? It doesn't really matter to you. I would love to hear what you guys have to think about that. And now a huge shout out to today's video sponsor, Green Chef. Green Chef is a USDA certified organic company, and the meals include paleo, vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, Mediterranean, heart smart, lean and clean, keto, gluten-free, and omnivore. Green Chef's expert chefs design flavorful recipes for your lifestyle that go way beyond ordinary substitutions. The recipes are quick and easy to follow with step-by-step instructions, chef tips, and photos to guide you through everything. Everything is hand-picked and delivered straight to your door, and the ingredients come pre-measured, perfectly portioned, and mostly prepped. I usually always order the vegan option because I can't eat dairy, and recently I made the tempeh with Cuban fried quinoa with my girlfriend, and it was absolutely amazing. It's a lot of fun to be able to do this with a significant other because it's just like a fun date night. So Green Chef was actually able to hook me up with a discount for you guys. If you want to try it out for the first time, go to greenchef.us/ObesetoBeast and you'll get $50 off your first box. Again, that's greenchef.us/ObesetoBeast. But again, huge thank you to Green Chef for sponsoring today's video, and thank you guys so much for checking it out. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, look how buff I am. Ugh.